Yo, 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 what's up? It's your boy Shell back with another video, man. This time I got some NFL content for you guys. I'm going to be reacting to the top 10 list put out by ESPN. This is by Jermey Fowler. It's about 3 days ago at the time of recording. And we're just going to go over the list and basically see if we agree with it, guys. I'm looking to do some more NFL content on the channel. The NBA offseason has really slowed down while we're all waiting for LeBron James to make his decision. And there's a few other moves on hold, and I'll talk about them once those things progress. But back to the list, man. Back to keeping it football. Really excited to talk football with you guys. Starting off at number one, Jeremy Fowler. According to executives, we got Josh Allen ranked number one. Now, obviously there's some amazing points. Josh Allen is an MVP, but for him to be ranked number one, in my opinion, is absolutely crazy after he just had 4 turnovers in the playoff game where Patrick Mahomes was not in the playoffs. Like, no way, no how is Josh Allen the number one dog. Absolutely not. I don't care if Patrick Mahomes was coming off of 2 Achilles surgeries. He's number one. Let's get that out the way. I'm going to say it off the bat. I'm not a Josh Allen hater. I think he's a top 3 quarterback in the league. Phenomenal physical talent. I mean, MVP of the league. You can't say enough about this guy. His style, but listen, he gets a pass. He gets a pass for coming up short in the playoffs. No quarterback in the history of the league has gotten more rep off losing playoff games than Josh Allen. He lost to the guy who's number one. I'm sorry. And with that being said, I'm going to transition to number 2 on the list, Patrick Mahomes, which, in my opinion, should be number 1. I cannot believe they're disrespecting this man. I don't care if he just came off of an ACL surgery. He literally has had one of the best starts to a career ever. It's only him and Tom Brady. Listen, Patrick Mahomes has to deal with what LeBron James had to deal with. He has to walk in Tom Brady's shadow. LeBron James had to walk in Michael Jordan's shadow his entire career from the jump. Patrick Mahomes has been chasing Brady since that 50 touchdown MVP season, and they lost in the divisional round, to Brady that year. Patrick Mahomes. No, I believe I'm sorry, they lost in the conference championship, I believe. Patrick Mahomes is that guy. He's not even compared to his contemporaries in the league right now. It's him and Brady, for crying out loud. 3-time Super Bowl champion. Please, miss me with that. I understand that the team around him has gotten worse, but he has gotten better. Unbelievable with the disrespect, man. Should be number 1, hands down. Hands down. Number 3 on the list, Matthew Stafford of the Los Angeles Rams. This is actually one I agree with. I would debate him and Josh Allen 1 and 2, but I think Matthew Stafford is, one of those quarterbacks that looks to be getting better with age. Obviously, health is a concern. He had the back in training camp. There was a lot of talk of, him potentially not even starting the season week 1 around this time last year, and he went out and won the MVP. Now, do I think the team around him is really, really good? Yes, and in another video, I'll go over the Rams and their projected super team. But I do think Matthew Stafford, if you take out the roster and you just look at the talent, you look at the resume, I think he's definitely top 3. I think he's definitely top 3, especially at the level that he's playing now. There may be quarterbacks with a better resume than him. Not many, I might add you. But those quarterbacks are not playing at the level that he's playing at outside of a Patrick Mahomes, right? And you could argue Matthew Stafford. I mean, you can't argue. Matthew Stafford definitely had a better season than Patrick Mahomes last year. We'll see about that this year. I do think Patrick Mahomes is going to be motivated. He's never really had to deal with this level of injury. He's never had to deal with this level of doubt. And the Chiefs have never had this disappointing of a season, quite frankly. you got to think that Travis Kelce doesn't have too many years left in the tank, and Patrick Mahomes wants to put his boy out on top, man. That's going to be a huge motivating factor. But this is the Matthew Stafford segment of the video. We're talking about him at number 3. Listen, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, once they get his situation figured out, I know the offseason drama around him has kind of died off, but, he was in rehab, anger management, all these other things, and they haven't given him the extension yet. So let's see how that situation plays out with the Rams. They still have question marks. Obviously, that defense is amazing with them adding Myles Garrett. Matthew Stafford's going to look fantastic this season. He's going to be playing with the lead a lot of the time. So I don't know how good his numbers are going to look because, honestly, the Rams are just going to need to run the ball and play defense. Their defense is going to win them a lot of games this year. So I don't know how eye-popping Matthew Stafford's numbers are going to be. I definitely think the touchdowns are going to be there. I mean, you got Devontae Adams, one of the best red zone threats ever. And you got Puka on the outside. So I think this is going to ruffle the most feathers. I think Joe Burrow is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. And I did say Josh Allen was a little bit overrated, but Joe Burrow is so overrated. Joe Burrow is 29 and has just been so hurt in his career. This man has taken so many hits. He's just not on the field. When he's on the field, he's money, and I get that. But how much credit are we going to give him for that 2021 Super Bowl run? We just watched Drake May with way less talent on the outside. Listen, Joe Burrow's been throwing with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins for his whole career. For his whole career in the NFL, he's had those guys. Drake May just did exactly what Joe Burrow did, took his team to the Super Bowl in his second season with way less talent. And obviously there's a smaller sample size with Drake May, but he doesn't have the injury risk that Joe Burrow carries. And in my opinion, I'm going to scroll down on the list here really briefly because they have Drake May listed at 8. Drake May should be at 4, in my opinion. I think Drake May and Joe Burrow should swap on this list. We'll go over the rest of the names shortly. But my take on Joe Burrow is hurt way too much, has all the talent on the outside. They literally devote all their resources on the offensive side to make him look good when he's in there. And the defense can't give a damn. And they're a losing team. He hasn't made the playoffs. To me, Joe Burrow is literally a glass cannon in the NFL. He's a glass cannon. He's good for 8 games a year, and those 8 games are going to be fantastic. That's not a top 10 quarterback if he only gives you 8 games. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put him at 8 for now. I'm gonna pray that he has a healthy season, and I think he could outperform that ranking statistically. But again, my point still stands. He hasn't gotten done in the playoffs. He's had opportunities. Hasn't gotten to the playoffs because he's been hurt. And then he's had the most talent on the outside in the entire league. Miss me with that, man. There's no way Joe Burrow's top 5 after all these years, man. Stop giving him all this credit for his Super Bowl run. He lost. Come on. He lost. Brock Purdy lost the Super Bowl to arguably, the second greatest quarterback of all time. And he's not in the top 10. Miss me with that. I obviously know he doesn't have the statistical dominance that a Joe Burrow does, but in terms of getting there, he's gotten as far as Joe Burrow has. And, Brock Purdy's going to take his team to the playoffs. Joe Burrow has yet to do that consistently. Now, going down to number 5, my favorite player in the league, the absolutely electrifying Lamar Jackson. Two-time MVP. Can't say enough about it. Coming off of arguably his greatest statistical season, which in my opinion he got robbed of MVP. Should be 3-time MVP in my opinion. He had a disappointing year. He had a really disappointing year. Injury-riddled season. The lack of extension talks are really putting a lot of doubt into sentiment of how he's going to age as a player. If the Ravens aren't giving him an extension and you're the team that's, drafted and built around him his entire career, how confident can you be as the other 31 teams that he can continue being that player moving forward if the Ravens don't believe he can do that? Lamar Jackson led the league in yards per completion last year in his limited time. He's developing as a passer, in my opinion. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. In my opinion, Lamar Jackson, while he may not be able to run at the level that he once did, he has become such a prolific passer. And the fact that he can create outside of the pocket, etc., makes him extremely dangerous. Do I think he's at the level of a Patrick Mahomes? Unfortunately, he's not. And like I said, I'm 100% biased here. I'm the biggest Lamar Jackson you're going to find. But he hasn't gotten it done in the playoffs. And despite his immense talents, and he's by far the most talented quarterback I've ever seen. I mean, like, he's a video game. He's a video game. He has underperformed in the playoffs. And he has not gotten the Ravens, who have had, top tier rosters around him defensively. Granted, I mean, I don't think they've ever put a top tier receiver around him. No disrespect to Zay Flowers, but I don't think he's, in the top 15 receivers right now. So I don't think Lamar Jackson has ever had, that kind of weapon. But I think Lamar needs to show more, and he's coming off of his, one of his worst seasons ever. Like, he's got to prove a lot of people wrong here, and I don't hate the ranking. He's still a top 5 QB. I'm not going to disrespect him like that, but he definitely, if his trend continues from last year, unfortunately, I will have to say we're going to have to drop Lamar Jackson a little bit more. Last season was an absolute disaster. We're going to chalk it up to injuries, but the Ravens overall, the first 6 games, he wasn't injured, and they were stinking up the joint. So, they got to fix a lot of issues on that team. The defense is not as good. They're aging out. Lamar has to be that force multiplier, and he needs to be healthy in order to do that for the Ravens. Otherwise, they're not going to make it very far this season, and it could really impact his contract. All right, so moving on. We're out of the top 5. Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys, the statistical darling. But unfortunately for the Dallas Cowgirls, and I will throw a little bit of shade at the Dallas Cowboys because I feel like they get so much shine for so very little. But of course, when you have the most fans, you're going to do that. Listen, I think he's a top 10 quarterback. I don't think he's 6. I think he's got amazing talent around him on the offense. But again, I'm going to bring it back to the same point as Joe Burrow. The Cowboys are so overly invested on offense. They've built this team for him to put up numbers. And, they just didn't win many games. Like, yeah, he had a lot of yards to pick in. CD was hurt for a couple games. Like, he's going to put up his numbers. But in the playoffs, he's going to come up short. That's his MO. And until he proves us wrong, until he does something differently, I think Dak Prescott steadily sits on the edge of the top 10. Not cemented in the top 10. Certainly not outside the top 5. Great quarterback. He's a top 10 quarterback. He's a staple. He's above average. He's finished as close as second in MVP. I'm not trying to disrespect Dak Prescott. I think he's got immense talents on the outside, but he's an injury-prone player. He's getting older, and the Dallas Cowboys have so many issues on defense. He's constantly having to throw the ball and constantly being put in these situations where the defense is just rushing at him, and he's an injury-prone player, guys. I think Dak is going to have a great offense, statistical season. But the Cowboys, man, miss me with that. 10 wins at best. 10 wins at best. I'll have a prediction of where I think all 32 teams are going to land, record-wise. And, I'll have my rankings on the divisional winners and all that coming out to you shortly before the season starts. So, moving on. Justin Herbert, number 7. Man, all the Justin Herbert glaze has got to go. Oh, he's so talented. Oh, he's this and that. Listen, man. He's underperformed. He's given up a 31-point lead in the playoff game, and I just don't think he's a 4-sex multiplier. He's a good player, but he doesn't make the people around him so much better. Obviously, they had huge offensive line issues last year, and I'm not saying that he's a scrub. I'm just saying Justin Herbert's one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league. I think he's more at 11, 12 on my list than he is at 7. And if you're going to ask me directly who I would put at 7, I'm going to talk about a guy who's not even on the list. Jalen Hurts, a winner. All this guy does is win. We need to reward winning in this league. And I just don't think Justin Herbert, quite frankly, has done enough winning. The Chargers have been disappointing team after disappointing season, in my opinion. Philly has been getting to their expected or a little bit more than their expected outcome. Obviously, every fan base hopes they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but they're making deep runs in the playoffs. They're having great regular seasons consistently. And I just don't think the Chargers have had that level of consistency from Justin Herbert. Certainly have not won at the level. I mean, two Super Bowls? Man, we glazed Joe Burrow for getting the one Super Bowl and losing. But you can't give Jalen Hurts his respect. Miss me with that, man. I put Brock Purdy over Justin Herbert. I'll say it again. Immense talent. Top 10 talent for sure. But can he put it together? We've seen guys that's immensely talented in this league and they never put it together. Justin Herbert has to prove something. To me, he's sitting on the outside looking in of the top 10. So number 8, we kind of discussed this. This is where I'd personally have Joe Burrow. And yes, I'd have him below Jalen Hurts. Obviously, Joe Burrow as a talent is a better thrower of the football. The quarterback position is not just about throwing the football, guys. It's about leading and managing the game and leading to wins. And Drake May just checks all the boxes, and he passes the eye test. Like, he's going to be a top 5 staple in this league for years to come. The Patriots had a real lack of talent on the offense, and he still had a top 2 MVP-like season, arguably an MVP season, because I honestly think he did more with less. And when I mean more, I mean like, he was just more efficient, right? Obviously, raw numbers, Stafford had more, but I think if you want to think who had a more impressive season, I think it was Drake May. And I'm a Jets fan. I truly hate that the Patriots went from Brady, a few years of quarterback carousel, and now they found Drake May. I'm not excited about this at all. But we also thought this about Mac Jones his rookie year. And obviously Drake May wasn't a rookie, but he didn't really play all that much his rookie year. We got to see how these guys come back. We got to see how these guys obviously play the following season when defenses adjust to them. But I mean, for sure, Drake May, with everything going forward, projecting going forward, I think he's a top 5 quarterback, no doubt. All right, so moving on. Jared Goff. Man, number 9. I actually think they got it right. I think Jared Goff, he's basically been a perennial playoff quarterback. He leads your team to 10, 11 wins. He's going to get you in the playoffs. Super solid. He's above average. And I think this is what I mean by the quarterback position is not just throwing the football. Does he wow you like a Justin Herbert? No. Right? And you could argue that the infrastructure around him is better, but Jared Goff gets the most out of that team. The Lions, granted, they did have an underperforming season, but they've exceeded expectations with Jared Goff at the helm. If you want to compare him to someone like Justin Herbert's never exceeded anyone's expectations. Everyone's always expected a lot out of him, but he's never impressed me in a way where I was like, wow, I didn't think Justin Herbert could do that. Now, of course, obviously, he's so talented that kind of works against him in that fact that Jared Goff not being as talented. You'd be like, wow, that guy's getting a lot out of him. That may skew your test. But in my opinion, that's part of the position, is leading your team to wins, managing the game. This is something that Jared Goff has made a living in this league of not being a super uber talented, uber athletic quarterback, but he's just had consistent success, man, and he's reliable, man. Definitely, Detroit had a little bit of a downtick this year. The offensive line wasn't as good. And that's big for Jared Goff. He definitely needs that time in there. So we could see him drop. We could see him drop. He's definitely one of those fringe guys. He's definitely one of those fringe guys on the way out, possibly, if he has an off season, for sure. Now, top 10, I'm going to get out of the way. I don't 100% disagree with this ranking. I think Caleb Williams is one of the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen. But he can't hit the layups. It's so weird. I have never seen somebody that can be so inaccurate and on like layups and then make some of the hardest throws possible. I just don't think that's a way to consistently win in the NFL. He's got to get that completion percentage up. He's got to stop being so off target. And I just think when you've seen 2 years of a guy and now he's getting recognition, now he's getting praise, he's on the Madden cover, I just think it's going to incentivize him to play into that play style a little bit more, and I think he's going to get burned. I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be a top 10 quarterback this year. Call it a hot take. I think he's going to be average. I think that's what the Bears need. They just need an average quarterback. They have a great roster around him. And I think that now that they're building on their rookie skill, he doesn't need to be absolutely amazing now. But I don't think he's going to be top 10. I don't think he's going to be top 10. And I'm going to say who's in my top 10, man. And listen, I know a lot of people are going to say this is recency bias, but how can you not put Sam Darnold in the top 10, man? He just came off of 2 back-to-back super impressive 13-win seasons, and he just won the Super Bowl. He's got to be in the top 10. He's shown you once he's gotten out of these pitfall organizations and you can build a stable winner around him, you can come to a stable organization. Sam Darnold's got you. He took you to the freaking Super Bowl in the first year he was there in Seattle. He's got to be the top 10, man. I'm sorry. Caleb Williams, I get the Madden cover. I get the talent, the Iceman nickname. I love it all, but it's just a little bit too soon for me. He's got to show me more in terms of those layups, man. He's got to hit the bunnies. Like, it just doesn't do it for me to be so all or nothing in this league. I just feel like he's going to get burned doing that. And you got to be able to complete passes at a higher completion rate. He needs to be at a 65 completion percentage. If Caleb Williams can get to a 65 completion percentage, he'll probably be the best quarterback in the league. But that's it, guys. That's my top 10. Again, got some hot takes on there. If you guys want to see me do the rest of the quarterbacks in the league, rank the top 10 quarterbacks. The 11 through 20, excuse me. I'll rank 11 through 20, and then I could give you maybe, 21 to 32 at the back end. But let me know, guys. It's your boy Shell back with another video. Peace.